Hello, this is The Fight Show on Sports Tonight Live with me, Dominic McGuinness, and alongside me, as ever, delighted to be joined by Spencer Oliver. And Spencer, we've got a lot to get through because, of course, we're going to be reviewing last weekend's action. We're going to have a preview as well of all the shows that have caught our eye in the coming few days. And we're going to be hearing from some fantastic names in the world of boxing, the likes of Barry McGuigan, Carl Frampton, who'll be with him as well, David Price, JJ Bird. You're going to give us a bit of insight about him.
Sure.
We're also going to be crossing to speak to Kell Brook. Only a countdown on now, 8-9 days until the big one, the War of the Roses against Matthew Hatton. So it'll be interesting to see how training is progressing. Tapering off now, I'm sure. But I think we can probably start looking back to the weekend that has gone. I know you were busy. You were working for Sky up at the Sheffield Jamie McDonnell show. And your thoughts now? You've had time to digest everything that went on that evening.
Well, I thought it was an excellent performance by McDonnell. He's showed that he's progressing so well. It's his fourth defence of his European title. I know Barry McGuigan said that he feels that he needs a little sterner test and he thinks that, maybe another defence or two. But I think McDonnell's ready for a world title and I think he's ready for one right now. He's 5'9". It's not getting any easier to make the weight. And I think if he's going to go for that world title shot, I think it should be sooner rather than later. Is
it a case of doing the world title shot at the current weight or maybe thinking now about...
Well, no, I don't think he's struggling that much to where he needs to be moving up to super bantam now. I'm just saying for a guy that's 5'9" to make, 8 stone 6, it's got to be difficult for anyone. And I just feel that he's at his prime at that weight. He's learnt the experience at European level. And I think it's now time to step up and box for that world title.
He was facing a guy 5 inches shorter, which creates its own problems, obviously, and a change of opponent as well. He's had to deal with a lot of things to actually, before he even got in the ring.
He has, and Pozo, the opponent that he was boxing, was a decent flyweight, European champion at flyweight, boxed for the world title at flyweight. So, he was a credible opponent. He knew he was 32 years of age, so he knew it was his last real shot at the big time. McDonnell, speaking to him before that, knew that Pozo was going to come and pose some threats early on, but McDonnell just took his time, showed nice composure, and it was a clinical finish and a lovely left hook to the body. And that's what I say. I just think that the performance just tells me that he's ready for that world title.
So who should it be at bantamweight? Who are the names that he's going to be looking at now?
Well, I think that they're all difficult. He's got a guy from Japan. I'm not going to pronounce the name because it's never easy, but I think they're all difficult at that world level. It doesn't really matter, the IBF, WBA, WBC, it doesn't really matter what one of the champions he boxes. I think that, boxing for a world title, it's never going to be easy, and I think for McDonnell, I think it's whatever name comes out the hat, and, I think he's got his WBC is number 2 in the WBC rankings. I think he's number 10 in the IBF, so, I mean, the WBC ideally would be the one because that's the most recognised world title.
And when you have a frame like that, as you allude to, when you are so tall, and you can play with that, if you like, can't you? There's an awful lot you can do with a guy that tall.
Definitely. I mean, I think that if he boxes up at super bantamweight, 8 stone 10, I think he's only going to be stronger for that. Surely, I mean, he's 5'9", like you say, he could fill out. There's nothing on him anyway, and I think that 8 stone 10, he would certainly be good, but I'd like to see him go for a world title shot at bantamweight before he outgrows the bantamweight division. There are talks of him maybe boxing a decent American before he steps up for that world title. But I just feel that the timing's right, and it's all about timing in boxing.
Timing, you could argue, was not right for Tom Dallas.
Sure.
That was it was not easy to watch, that was it? Against Matt Skelton, 45 years of age. He's had his problems outside of the ring, and he came back in and just did a job on Tom, who obviously had a bad day against David Price, who we'll be hearing from.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was such a strange fight. I mean, you can't take nothing away from Skelton, 45 years of age, had a load of personal problems anyway, comes back in, realises it's his last chance, and he took it with both hands, boxed tremendously well. We know the way Skelton boxes, he likes to come forward, throws loads of punches, he's really rough inside and stuff. But Dallas was very subdued, he was very held back, there was like nothing in his jabs, everything was very slow. And there was a couple of occasions where Dallas sort of went right over the ropes, and it was sort of like no effort to sort of pull himself back, and Skelton just saw the opportunity and just kept hitting away. And it was a real strange fight. It was a strange performance from Dallas, a brilliant performance from Skelton. He really did roll back the years, but a very strange fight as a spectacle.
Well, that was the image that sticks in the mind, wasn't it? The image of him on the ropes, leaning back, almost.
But Dom, it was, I mean, we've got the top rope here. Now, at one point, you've got the bottom rope here. Now, at one point, Dallas's head was as low as the bottom rope and his feet were still on the floor in the canvas. That's how it was. It was like he was bent right over. It was really strange. You felt that one more shot and he would have flipped right out of the ring. That's how it was. But there was sort of no sense of urgency from Dallas at all. He knew that, you know, after the fight against Price, he knew that he had to put in a good performance to keep himself in the mix. And there was no sense of urgency at all. It was, it was a strange one, but a credit to Matt Skelton, and he put himself back in the mix.
A crazy career Skelton's had. I mean, he was in a rush when he first turned over from the kickboxing, Thai boxing world.
Sure.
You know, he wasn't a young man then, but he's always been incredibly fit, hasn't he?
He has.
Incredible energy.
I watched him when he boxed Sugarheff out in Germany, in Dusseldorf. I was working out there for that, and I mean, what a performance he put up. He only lost by a couple of rounds, but like you say, he turned from kickboxing to boxing, and within 18 months he was British champion and knocking on the door for world titles. Just shows, you know, what a formidable force he was in his day, but you know, he showed glimpses of that on Saturday night.
We're going to have some fabulous footage as well from a fairly unique press conference a couple of days ago in Belfast. It was Tyson Fury and Martin Rogan. We'll look forward to that. But David Price, whose name was already mentioned, has just joined us on the line. Speaking about Tom Dallas, David, I know you've sparred with him and he stepped in at fairly late notice to fight you prior to the Skelton loss. Were you shocked, surprised, you know, upset even by the performance against Skelton?
Take nothing away from Matt Skelton. He rolled back the clock a little bit, didn't he? I thought he looked good at times, and he's an handful for anyone, Skelton, on his day. So, you know, I think it was a bit mixture of both really, but yeah, disappointed a little bit for Tom Dallas. Because he's going to have to have a sit down and think about what he wants to do next, see. And it's a little bit disappointing for him.
Now, David, you was out in Germany for the Klitschko fight. I mean, what?
Actually, we've got a technical problem there, Spencer. Sorry about that. David, we just can't hear you properly, actually. The sound quality is a bit low. So what we'll do, we'll call you straight back in a second. So we'll be hearing from David and get all his thoughts on that, because, of course, he had an interesting night in Germany, and he can tell us all about the Sam Sexton fight coming up. But just to pick up what David was talking there about Tom, I think even prior to the Price fight, not Price fight, Price, and the Skelton fight, Frank Maloney had some harsh words for him earlier on, a couple of fights back as well, but mentally not quite being tuned into a fight. Well, so is that the bigger deal, or the bigger problem?
Listen, Dom, I think that was evident there on that performance. I mean, there was obviously something not right. I don't know if the training preparation wasn't right, whether he's got personal problems. I don't know. I wouldn't like to comment on it because I don't know the situation, you know, but what I saw in the ring was not the Tom Dallas that I've seen before. I know Tom Dallas right back from the amateur days. He actually boxed Derek Chisora in the ABA finals, where he was doing very well and only lost it by about 2 punches. He was winning after 2 rounds, lost it in the final round. So, and I've seen him, he's come down my gym a couple of times. He sparred Derek Chisora before Derek boxed last time out against Klitschko, and he looked fantastic. So I can't work out how he's gone from, I saw him sparring 2 weeks prior to that with Derek Chisora, and he looked great. Everything looked good. He looked nice and sharp. He was holding his own with Derek. And then all of a sudden we see him 2 weeks later, and it was a real strange performance. Like I say, there was nothing in the jab at all. There was nothing at all, and it was just a real strange night from Dallas, and there must be some sort of problem, you know, outside the ring.
Well, I think we are now with David Price again, and David, you might have heard all that, but just speaking obviously about Tom, a guy that you know you fought, you spar with, but. Just switching to you, we were talking to Spencer earlier about Spencer's experiences at the Bill in Sheffield, Jamie McDonnell. I know that you were over in Germany for the Klitschko extravaganza, whatever you like to call it, and enjoying yourself, I think. That's fair to say?
What's that? Sorry, I didn't hear that last bit.
I gave you a lovely build-up there.
Yeah.
Just saying that you were over in Germany for the Klitschko fight against Mormeck, and you seem to be enjoying yourself.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me to go to such a massive event. I mean, it opened my eyes to boxing in a different way, really. The way they put on a show over in Germany, it's not just a boxing show. I mean, the undercard wasn't great, but the event itself, to the German people, it must be like one of the social highlights, you know, one of the highlights of the social calendar for the year, really. So, yeah, it was good. It was a good experience, and obviously to soak up the atmosphere of a big world heavyweight title fight was brilliant as well. So it was a nice experience for me.
Now, David, I also know that Klitschko spoke to you. He recognised you won as a fighter, and also said that you know, you could be a possible opponent. How did that feel?
Massive confidence booster for me. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly, more so Vladimir though. But the fact that he even knew I was a confidence boost for me. I mean, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not ready to beat a Klitschko, so I'm not ready to face a Klitschko. The only time I'll be ready to face them is when I believe, and my team believe, that I'm ready to take the titles from them. So, but it's nice that I even got mentioned at this stage. I've had 12 fights. I'm fighting for the British title in my next fight, and you know, it's early on in my career, and I need to get a lot more experience before I can step in and face these guys. Because, as I say, I don't just want to be an opponent who's going over to get beat. I want to go over with a real chance of winning it. So it's going to take time, but hopefully he's still about when I'm ready. I think he will be, because I think I'm like 18 months, 2 years off, maybe four or five fights. And if you get the right opponents in the next few fights, and it'll develop me more as a fighter, then, you know, it could be sooner rather than later.
So your next fight is May the 19th against Sam Sexton. Now that's probably your biggest test to date.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Sexton's lost to Chisora twice, which, after Chisora's last fight against Klitschko, is no disgrace really. But yeah, Sexton's a good fighter, and it's probably my hardest test to date. And that's what I want as I progress through my career. I want to be fighting better opponents each time, and it's going the right way in fighting Sam Sexton. And you know, he believes he'll do a number on me, but I've got other ideas, obviously, and it's going to make for an exciting fight on the 9th, I think, 3 days course.
Well, you're talking about the Klitschko's usually fight smaller guys. You're going to have to deal with a smaller guy. I think you've got about 6 inches on Sam Sexton. You know, he's going to probably have tactics to try and rush at you, I would imagine. I mean, how do you see tactically Sam going about this fight, and then how do you deal with it?
Well, I wouldn't advise him to rush at me, because look what happened to John McDermott. And he was 6 inches smaller than me, and I think Sam's a little bit more cleverer than that. You know, I think Sam as an offensive fighter isn't someone who'll come in rolling under the jab and like that. Sam's more of a back foot fighter, I think, and a defensively minded fighter, and he's good at what he does. So, but if he wants to start rushing in like the likes of John McDermott, then, you know, he can try to, but he'll walk onto something big. So I don't think it'll go that way somehow.
Well, you're right, I think, in what you say. We've seen Sexton right through his career, and he does like to box on the back foot. So the tactic for you, obviously, will be just to stalk forward and take your time.
Yeah, I'll just be taking my time. I'll just be working on what we've worked on in the camp, and you know, we're just going into camp properly now and working on the tactics. And by the time fight night comes, we'll have it down to a T. And you know, I've got every confidence in my team, in my team, and the people around me that will get the tactics spot on. And you know, I'll walk away as being the first British heavyweight champion from Liverpool, which is a massive incentive for me.
And it'll be at Aintree as well. We're not normally associating fights with Aintree. Of course, it'll be about a month after the Grand National, I think. That's about right, isn't it, David?
Yeah, it's the first of its kind at this Aintree Equestrian Centre. And if you manage to get down there, you'll see how impressive a building it is to have a boxing show. And it's really, really lovely building. And as I say, it's the first of its kind. And hopefully it'll be the first of many, because you know, I'm wanting to defend this British title that I'm looking to win in this city, and until I grow into an arena fighter and further on, this venue is ideal for everyone. So it's a great venue, and it's a month after the Grand National, so everyone who goes through them gates into the Grand National will be knowing that I'm fighting there, because they'll see my picture all over the race course.
Looking to stay the course, no doubt you will be as well. I'm sure you'll go that extra furlong. Oh, you've gone forever, can't you? Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Well, listen, thanks very much indeed for joining us, David. We look forward to obviously keeping in touch, and you'll have to come in next time you're down in the smoke. Pop in and sit right next to this man here, Spencer Oliver, as well. It'd be great to have a more in-depth chat with you.
Best of luck,
Always
David.
Great to see Spencer. Sam, mate.
Yeah, best of luck,
soon,
mate. Yeah, you take care.
All the best.
Thanks. See you later.
Well, there you are. We'll elaborate a little bit more on that as well, Spencer, of course. It's a good fight, and there's plenty more coming up right here on The Fight Show on Sports Tonight Live. This is the Fight Show here on Sports Tonight Live with me, Dominic McGuinness, Spencer Oliver, alongside me. We're just talking about the heavyweights, Spencer, off air as well. We can't stop talking about them. David Price, who speaks so well, certainly one of the big hopes as far as this country is concerned. We're going to have a little look at Tyson Fury in a second because a very interesting press conference this week. But Klitschko Mormeck, the fight that David was over at, how depressing is this for heavyweight boxing? The fact that Mormeck, bumped up cruiserweight, can last 4 rounds and that's it, and there doesn't seem to be anyone now ready for a Klitschko.
Well, this is the problem you've got, isn't it? It's like, Mormeck for me was a massive disappointment. He moved up from cruiserweight, as you said, which shows you that the calibre of opponents out there in the heavyweight division at the moment, there isn't any. We've got Seth Mitchell, who's the big hope in America. We've got our own David Price, who said he's 18 months off being ready. Tyson Fury's around the same sort of level, and I feel that he's probably 18 months off ready. So, I mean, the heavyweight division, really, there's nothing around, and that's why the Klitschkos have been so dominant for a decade now. Tyson
Fury, one of the names you mentioned, was involved with, he's promoting, of course, the fight with Martin Rogan, which is coming up in a few weeks' time in Belfast. Now, let's just have a look at, because if you think Chisora Hay and everything that went on, I think this is the antidote to any of boxing's nonsense, because this is a very different scene. This is Fury and Rogan in Belfast. Have a look at this.
You doing stand-up? Are you doing stand-up for the sports league?
Shall I give us a bit now, shall I?
Go ahead. It's obvious what's going to happen. There must be something.
Right, can I have a bit of a round of applause, please? Come on. Before we start, I know what you're thinking. I am fucking gorgeous. Some people say I'm a Brad Pitt lookalike, just a taller, bit better looking version. That's what my mum tells me anyway. Not that funny, I should go. That's all I'm giving you.
Right, if he does stand up, then I'm going to do it. Come on in.
Some people say
that's a clacker. Take the Fury, you're a clacker. Put Pete the people, you'll not be doing stand up, you'll be doing it either.
well, considering he's done that, I'm going to give us all a nice little song. How's that? You ready for this, everybody? You ready? Is there any, Mike, can we get any power in these?
That one in front of Mick, that's
See if he can beat this one. Right.
He was sitting beside me in the passenger seat as I looked through the windshield at a quiet little street. He was smiling so proudly as he gave me the key. But inside I knew he was as nervous as me. I said, Daddy, oh Daddy, are you sure I know how? Are you sure that I'm ready to drive this car around? He said, I'm right here beside you and you're gonna be fine. All you gotta do is keep there between the lines.
Oh, Spencer could see you giggling throughout that. Is that what we want to see? It's got to be good, hasn't it?
Listen, it's all good fun, innit? I mean, in all the years that I've been involved in boxing, I've never seen a press conference like that. It's great to see, the two fighters getting on so well. They're having a little laugh and a joke and the business is done inside the ring. And that's great to see. I mean, to me, that was good. It was excellent. It was great fun. And that shows boxing in a better light, doesn't it?
Let's have the views now of a man that knows all about boxing and Irish boxing, of course, as well. Barry McGuigan joins us on the line. You're aware of events in Belfast, Barry, I'm sure, and I bet you enjoyed them as well.
I am not aware of them, Dominic. This is news to me, so enlighten me.
With Fury and Rogan's press conference and the singing and the joke telling and all the rest of it.
Was this Rogan and Tyson Fury?
Yep. We had Tyson Fury standing up singing some sort of song. Rogan getting up doing some sort of comedy act. Fury coming back and doing the same sort of thing. It was the most bizarre press conference I've ever seen. And we were just saying, Barry, how different it was from the weeks, just a couple of weeks before with the Chisora and Klitschko. And it puts boxing really in a good light that the guys are, entertaining each other and the people, and they just let the business be done in the ring.
Yeah, well, that's what we hope always takes place, and for all the coaches up and down the country who give all their time and volunteer their lives for young people to make their lives better. it's really important that guys that are in the limelight behave themselves. And so it was unspeakable stuff that Chisora and Hay, and obviously we don't want to talk about that. But I'm delighted to hear that Tyson Fury. He is a bit of a showman, all right, and I know that Martin Rogan. I call Martin Rogan Desperate Dan because he just looks like Desperate Dan. He's a tough, strong guy, and so I think it'll be a great fight, and good that they behave themselves during the press conference. That's what we need.
Well, he was actually paying his respects to Frank Carson as well with an impression, Martin Rogan, and he was cracking all sorts of jokes. He actually got the better of Fury in terms of entertainment. So, you know, Fury, who has, as you rightly say, likes to certainly get a bit of attention. But it all bodes well anyway for a good fight. And one, I think, if you look at those two, again, we're talking, myself and Spencer, about the big man, small man, heavyweight situation. It's another example of that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The heavyweight division is suddenly lit up again, and despite all the shenanigans of the two guys outside the ring, I think the good thing and the thing that very few people actually ended up talking about was that Chisora actually, boxed very well and put up a terrifically brave effort. And okay, he'll probably lost at 8-4, or maybe more than that, but he pushed Vitali back, and what he did show is that Vitali's beginning to lose it a little bit. He hasn't got the same sort of strength, and I don't think he has the same ability to digest punches, and it suddenly made the heavyweight division exciting again. And we've got Chisora, we've got David Price, we've got Tyson Fury, and British heavyweight boxing is certainly flying at the moment, and we are looking forward to maybe realistically in a year and a half's time that the Klitschko boys will have proper fights on their hands. At the moment, I don't think anybody's quite ready, but to my mind, David Price is the one that has all the credentials if he can take a good punch on the chin, and we need to know that can happen as well. So that's going to take a bit of time against reasonably tough opposition to prove that he can soak up a shot,
Well, Barry, David said himself that, he's a realist and he realises that it's probably 18 months off boxing any of the Klitschkos anyway. So, I mean, that's good that he realises where he's at this stage of his career.
Yeah, I think, Spencer, the thing is, it's easy to... And one thing I said about Chisora was I thought Chisora wasn't ready for the Italian, and I was proved right. But if he'd had another year's development, the story could have been so much different. He still put up a brave effort, and in the fight itself, he actually fought very well, backed him up, and said he'd do what David Hay was unable to do, which was come forward, move his head, put him under pressure, back him to the ropes, and throw punches. He did all that, and I think if he'd had another 4 or 5 fights, good quality opposition, top quality kids. Top quality guys from America. That's the problem, isn't it? There aren't many top quality guys from America, but it would have put him in a more strong position to possibly even win the fight against Vitali. But what it's proven is that Vitali is definitely on the slide, and Vladimir is 35 years old, and although he's an incredible specimen, at some stage things are going to get much harder for him, and we just hope that maybe the UK and Ireland have the talent to put him under pressure in the next year or two.
We're going to drop down the weights in a second, Barry, because I know you've got Carl Frampton with you. We'd just like to talk a little bit about that with Barry and Carl just a sec. But Spencer's been bragging about his own singing prowess, would you believe, this evening? Because after Tyson Fury... Yeah, after Tyson Fury grabbing the mic, it sparked something in Spencer, and he started telling us all about him being a recording artist. So let's just have a quick listen to this.
Singing at the press conference, and
we feel alone. We stumble in the darkness on our own. The wild light, the torn apart. Keep the fighting spirit in our heart. Don't give up. Things go
With pride there, Barry. I believe that's you got your heads together for charity.
Well, I didn't hear any of that at all. Whatever happened, you've just come back on there.
Barry, I'll
I haven't heard any of that. I hope you haven't heard any of me. I kept saying I'm looking across at Carl and JK beside me. Said the boys are gone off air. I can't hear them.
Barry, I'll refresh your memory. It was when we done the charity song that Enzo wrote with Tony Mortimer, The Fighters Forever. So we was just we was just approaching your line then. Fortunately, the viewers never heard it.
I didn't hear it, and I don't want to hear it, to be quite honest with you.
It was good fun though, Barry, no?
Andrew said I was the only one that could sing. But there we are, and that's not it.
he wasn't lying either, Barry.
Oh, well.
Sorry, I say that again, Spencer.
I said Enzo wasn't lying either. I think you was the only one that could sing. If you looked at the lineup, we had myself, Frank Bruno, Lennox, yourself. Yeah, it was It was good fun.
Can Carl Frampton sing, or does he leave his the fireworks and everything else for the ring, Barry?
Sorry, say that again. This is a bad line.
And Carl's alongside you now. I'm sure he does all his entertaining in the ring. If Carl's on the line for us now, I know we've got the big fight.
I'll put you across to him. He does his stuff inside the ropes, so and he's a good lad. So here, have a chat.
Thanks, Barry.
Hello.
Hi, Carl. I know that you've been having a laugh with Barry about his own singing prowess, but you're an entertainer within the ropes, and I know you've got the countdown on now to. Just a few days' time, tapering things ahead of a night in Sheffield for yourself.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a big night, especially on Kell Brook and Matthew Hatton. It's a massive fight for British boxing. And I'm over the moon to be on such a big card. To be chief support is even better. Great shape. I've been training hard, done a lot of sparring, and I'm more than ready.
Yeah, Carl, I mean, there's been talk, the fight's been building up for a long time now. You and Scott Quigg. Quigg didn't perform last time, didn't look that great. So, I mean, you'll be looking to put on a big performance here.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to look impressive. Obviously, I want to get the win, but I want to look impressive too. Obviously, after my last performance, I was quite happy with that, and it was quite a good knockout. Quigg didn't look so good. And we're always getting compared, me and Scott. He's a guy I respect a lot. I really do respect him. I think he's a good fighter. I think, to be honest, me, him, and Randall Munro are the three top guys in Britain, and I don't think anyone would question that. And I want to fight these guys to prove that I'm the top.
And Carl, how far away do you think them fights are before they're made?
I think pretty soon. I would want them in my next fight. I've sat there and I've talked to obviously Barry and Eddie Hearn of Matchroom, and we're seeing fight here coming up as my last fight in my apprenticeship, and I want big fights after this. I want them to be in Belfast as well. So there's big names out there. Obviously the two guys in Britain, Quigg and Munro. You've got Willie Casey. He's another possible opponent, and you've also got Kiko Martinez. And hopefully after this fight, I'll be in the ring against one of those guys.
You don't want to look beyond Ankrah, though. What can you tell us about him? What do you know about this fella that's going to try and take your Commonwealth Super Bantamweight belt?
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, to be honest. All I know really is his record. I haven't been able to get any footage of him really at all. I know his record basically. That's it. He's got 13 knockouts and 18 wins. He's lost twice, so I'm guessing he's probably a decent puncher. If you stereotype a Ghanaian boxer, he's going to be tough and he's going to come and try to win, which is good for me, because I think I perform better when people actually come and they try to put me under pressure. So I don't know too much, but I suppose I'll suss him out in the first round and we'll take it from there.
It's been quite a lot of talk in terms of, I think Ricky Burns was saying he doesn't watch fighters. He never does. He leaves that to Billy Nelson, and he'll just go in and do what Billy tells him on the night. Where do you stand on that? Would you normally like to look at, if you don't need telling about Scott Quigg, I suppose, but normally would you like to study an opponent? How does it normally work with you?
Yeah, I do like to have a look, but not too much. I would look at them once or twice, and that would be it. And then I would let my trainer sort of figure out a game plan around that. But I suppose you can get carried away, and you could be watching them every day, and some people are like that, but not me. I do like to have a look, see what I'm coming up against, but only once or twice, or it would put your head away.
I mean, Cole, you was a top amateur, so the fact that you've not seen this guy probably won't bother you because you've dealt with all sorts of styles and, you know, boxers, fighters. So surely this won't bother you that you've not seen this guy anyway.
No, well, that's right. You know, I've been against probably every style there is in the world. Boxing, you know, at 40 internationals, boxed all over the world for Ireland, and you know, this guy's he's not going to have a style that I haven't seen before. So I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it when it comes. It's important, you know. I'll get a look at him. It's a bit different in the pro game because you have 12 rounds really, so you can afford to maybe look at someone in the first round. But in the amateur game, you have to win the first round because there only is another 2 after that. But you know, we'll sort it out. I'll be okay.
Well, Carl, best of luck and enjoy the night. It's going to be a great bill, and we are going to be talking more about the War of the Roses fight after the break. But Carl, Barry, thank you very much indeed for your time. And
Thanks
as I say,
very much.
We are going to be hearing from Kell Brook. Next week we'll have an intimate chat with Matthew Hatton as well, but we do want to have a quick focus on that War of the Rose. Hatton-Brook, that's after the break here on Sports Night Live. This is The Fight Show. This is The Fight Show on Sports Tonight Live with me, Dom McGuinness, alongside Spencer Oliver here. And Spencer, we're going to be hearing in just a few seconds from Kell Brook. We're also going to be hearing, hopefully a little later, from Jamie McDonnell. Again, we spoke about that. Yeah. And JJ Bird, because there's a big night in Peterborough coming up, which you're heavily involved with, of course.
Yeah, I'm in the corner for JJ tomorrow night, so really looking forward to that. It's the return, obviously, after the disaster he had in the prize fight, you know, sort of passing out in the dressing rooms, had his licence revoked. He's now got it back and he's just looking to get back in the ring and get his career back on track. We are going to stick, though, with the 17th of March. Of course, we were talking about the War of the Roses, Matthew Hatton, Kell Brook, and of course, Carl on the undercard. There are going to be some great fights on that bill. But I think the fellow that's also had a lot of publicity about this fight, very much one of Britain's best fighters, Kell Brook, is on the line. Good evening to you, Kell. Can you hear us, Kell? You're not swimming, are you?
I can't hear you that well.
Oh, it's okay now. We've got you there, Kell. We're just giving you the big build-up about the War of the Roses fight. And again, I think first and foremost, this one practically a sellout now, isn't it? Everybody getting excited with just a few days to go.
Yeah, you know, we haven't got long to go now. There's a bit, you can feel it in the air, you know, it's looking like it's going to be a sellout, and everyone's buzzing. You know, I can't wait to get in there and do the business.
Kell, I mean, there's been a lot of respect from both of you guys, in the build-up to this fight. I mean, it's great to see. It's a breath of fresh air, really.
Yeah, you know, what happened, you know, with David A and Chisora, I think, you know, like you said, it is a breath of fresh air. We've had a lot of respect for each other, and, you know, what we're going to do is fighting next Saturday, and going to see who number one in the division is.
I think it all started, didn't it, Matthew, with a bit of a tipsy phone call over Christmas to try and see if you could get the fight on, and laughing and joking. I think he was out with some of your mates, Curtis, Ryan Rhodes, and that's pretty much what instigated it. Would that be right?
Yeah, no, we were talking about it before, you know. Eddie put it to me, and I said, yeah, you know, I'd like to get on because it's you know, it's a long time coming. It's been talked about for many years, and you know, I wanted to fight Matthew before I went on. You know, I didn't need to take the fight, but I wanted the fight, and I think, you know, we were talking about it, and then I got a phone call at Christmas off Matthew, you know, drunk and cold, but, you know, we're all tongue in cheek. We're funny, you know, in saying what we were going to do to him, but, you know, then we made the fight, so here we are.
And Matthew's wife, Jenna's just recently had a baby. I mean, so you'll be hoping for a few sleepless nights?
Yeah. No. With me, we both had his baby daughter, and, you know, I'm in spare room, making sure that I get the hours that I need, and, you know, so I'm all set for the fight.
I know you did congratulate Matthew on Twitter as well, which, again, going back to the whole, which is great to see at the moment with so much negativity, the respect that the pair of you have shown. And I know that you've appeared together, you've done a bit of press together, and an interesting comment that you made about watching Ricky's tapes to prepare for this fight. I mean, are you just trying to wind him up a little bit?
Yeah, you know, to be honest with you, I never watched tapes of my opponent, but, you know, I never ever watched tapes because I think that it's gonna be different when they get in with me anyway. I never watch tapes of my opponents, but, you know, I'm just playing little games with him, you know. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to me and him, and the better man's going to win on the night. So, you know, we all that, you know, it's tongue in cheek. So we took with a smile, but, you know, next Friday we're going to find out who the daddy is.
And what does the future hold for the winner of this fight? I mean, you win this fight, you come through comfortably. What's the next step for you?
I think, you know, after this fight, the welterweight division is mega packed with big names. So, you know, it's not going to be hard to get more of them big fights. But, you know, the long-term dream being for me is to win a world title. And, you know, after this fight, whoever wins this goes on to win a world title. So, you know, it's right there in front of me now.
And it will, from your point of view, look good if you can, you know, I suppose, do a number on Matthew in terms of beat him well, considering some of the opponents he's faced. Saul Alvarez, when he stepped to like middle, to go over there, and, you know, he got great credit for that, particularly after what Alvarez, you know, went on to do against Ryan Rhodes, a guy you know so well. So particularly, this is his 50th fight as well, Matthew Hatton. A vastly experienced campaigner. So you look at this one and think, you know, this is a great scalp. Would that be right, Kell?
Yeah, definitely a great scalp. You know, this is his 50th fight. And like you say, we're an unbeaten European champion. And like you said, the fight, we went 12 rounds with Alvarez. It's never been stopped. So if I can go out there and do a number on Matthew, you know, it puts me on that pedestal, you know. But out of his 50th fights, I've done a serious job on him. So only great things can happen to me from them.
Well, Kell, you know, Matthew said in the build-up to this contest that he's in the best shape of his career. And I think that would be pretty fair to say. So he's going to pose a pretty stern test.
Yeah, he's going to need to be, you know. He's going to need to be. You know, I've trained hard. Listen, this is his biggest fight of his life. You know, it's at welterweight. That one went light middleweight in the box to that world title, Alvarez. So, you know, he knows whoever wins this fight will go on to a world title. So he trained his heart out for this fight. And I know that he's trained his heart out. So, you know, it only can generate a fire when it's on the night.
Just tell us now, Kell, I suppose this is an exciting and a frustrating time for a fighter. You've done all the hard work. What are you going to be doing now with countdown on over the next few days? Just ticking over, I'm sure, in the gym, not doing anything strenuous, but just talk us through your daily diary, if you like.
Yeah, you know, it's always frustrating for me. I want to get the fight. I want the fight now. I can taste it, you know, when there's a big fight coming up, you know. So for me now, I'll be doing one last sparring session, you know, and just sharpening the tools up, you know, just training once a day, just keeping sharp, keeping on top of the weight and watching it, and just counting the days down, you know, and then it comes to the night, and that's when we'll let them fireworks off.
And I'm sure you're feeling the buzz of the Matchroom stable anyway. It's exciting times for all you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very exciting, you know. Like I say, there's a real buzz about this fight. You know, number one being number two. These fights don't really come around very often because, you know how it is. Top fighters, they don't seem to fight number two over regarded top fighters. So, you know, we're all buzzing about this fight. We just can't wait to get in that arena, that packed arena, feel the crowd, and just put a performance on for the fans.
Well, Kell, this has really captured the public's imagination, hasn't it? I mean, there's a lot of people talking about it, not even real boxing fans as well. You know, when I walk around and speak to people, everybody's really looking forward to this one. So, you know, that must really excite you.
Yeah, it really does excite me, you know. With that alone and my daughter, you know, I'm doing an extra leap in my step, and, you know, they're not going to be disappointed, the fans, because like you said, it's not just boxing fans what I've took note to this fight. People outside of the hardcore boxing fans, they're all wanting to get involved, and that's a good thing, because me and them are coming off very respectable as we should, you know. And I think it's you know, like you said, it's captured the public's imagination, and they're going to have a real mouth-watering fight on their hands.
Now the serious stuff, Kell. Is there going to be a flashy ring walk?
Sorry?
Is there going to be a flashy ring entrance, a flashy ring walk? The serious business now.
you're gonna have to wait and see.
It's, that reminds me of Naz back in his day. It was exactly sort of the same words that he was. Me and Naz used to box around the same sort of time, and that was the answer that Naz would have given.
Yes.
Well, we will do that, and we look forward to a cracker of a night anyway. It's the old, you know, the Lancashire-Yorkshire thing, everything else. Kel, best of luck with preparations ahead of the fight night. All the best to you. Thanks for joining us here.
Best of luck, Kel.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Spence. Cheers.
Kell Brook, ahead of this big fight. Interesting, he says it's the biggest fight of Matthew's career. Considering he fought Alvarez, I know he's saying the weight, he's probably quite right. But Matthew, you made the point before. Matthew's going to go into this one in fantastic shape. Bob Shannon is a stickler, a disciplinarian for fitness. And
Dom, both guys know what's on the table here. Do you know what I mean? This is, as I said there to Kell, it really has captured the public imagination. Boxing's, you know, in good spirits at the moment. Forget the Hay Chisora thing. You know, British boxing is sort of on the up. We've got a lot of good fighters around at the moment. These two are number 1 and number 2, undoubtedly, in the welterweight division. And you know, they know what's on the line. You know, a world title shot possibly for the winner, at least European world title shot. Where does the loser go? Well, if it's for Matthew Hatton, 50 fights, it's going to be very difficult to pick himself up, try and get him back to British title level. So that's what this means. I mean, it's a career-defining fight for both guys.
It is indeed. And Matthew, I think, deserves this. He has stepped out of Ricky's shadow, hasn't
Absolutely.
he? In the last few fights, that's been pretty clear.
Dom, undoubtedly, you know, Matthew sort of lived in Ricky's shadow for a long time. Ricky went on and become 2-time world champion, tremendous career. Matthew stuck at it, and now, you know, he's made himself in his own right, and it's great to see he went on, won a European title totally against the odds. Now he's got this big fight and one that he's relishing.
Well, we're going to look forward to some more action over the weekend as well. When you join us back here on Sports Tonight Live, this is The Fight Show. This is The Fight Show here on Sports Tonight Live with me, Dominic McGuinness, alongside me, Spencer Oliver. And I think we've covered all the heavyweight division.
Yep.
We've now covered some of the little fellas anyway, not all of them. We've got more to talk about. We've got more to preview as well, because Ricky Burns has got that interesting fight coming up, of course, this weekend against Paulus Moses.
That's a tough contest, and I think Ricky Burns appreciates that. He knows that. He's coming off an excellent win himself against Katsidis. A lot of people thought he was going to lose that one. And for me, Ricky Burns just seems to be going from strength to strength. 2-time world champion now, you know, super featherweight champion now, up at lightweight. You know, I really like Ricky Burns, and I know he's in for a tough test, but, you know, I fancy him in this one. His confidence is sky high at the moment.
Well, he's an unknown quantity to many people, though, isn't he, Moses? One defeat on his record. And again, when apparently there were things happening in his personal life and he wasn't quite right, and you know, he does have a phenomenal winning record, although a lot of the fights have been in Namibia. Yeah,
but he does have a phenomenal record, and he's proven, you know, at that level, he's proven to be a worthy challenger for the world title. But as I said, Ricky Burns up in Scotland, he's going to be very tough to beat, and you know, he's in a good place at the moment, Burns.
And of course, everybody's looking towards the Mitchell fight. It's just a natural.
Absolutely, that's what I mean, and he will be looking forward to that as well. So he won't want any hiccups. He won't want any slip-ups. Yes, it's going to be tough, but I fancy Burns to come through.
Now, who is this good-looking fella up on our Skype wall here on Sports Tonight Live? I think it's a fella you know well, JJ Bird, who's in action at Robert Waterman's Peterborough show. Obviously in fine fettle, everything gone well ahead of preparations, despite Spencer being in your corner, JJ.
Yeah, everything's gone well so far. I mean, I think Spencer's kind of been working on stuff with me, kind of getting me to kind of come forward with my punches a bit more. Usually I was on the back foot a lot. I think I've got kind of more variety kind of with training with Spencer. Obviously, he's skiving off any training tonight being in the studio with you guys, though.
Well, JJ, you know, I've got to pay the bills, my friend. I've got to pay the bills. You're all ready now. The preparation's gone good, and you must be looking forward, you know, to tomorrow night, just to put all this prize fighter stuff behind you.
Yeah, do you know what? It's like going back to the drawing board, back in my hometown, kind of starting my career, a new fresh start after a long while out. Obviously, everything that happened with a prize fighter as well. I just want to put all that behind me now and just get back in the ring and do what I love doing. Do you know what I mean?
I know we've spoken before about the prize fighter incident when you kind of passed out, fainted in the dressing room, but you've been completely cleared medically. There isn't an issue with you. You've got to get your career back on track. And I know you've also spoken before about some of the high-profile stuff you've done with the TV programmes and everything else, was to promote your boxing career, which is a clever way of doing things.
I thought it was a clever way of doing it. A lot of other people will think it's kind of the wrong way to go about it. I've kind of done that and got the kind of exposure. Now I need to do my talking in the ring, which is a good start for me now. Tomorrow in my hometown, back where it all started, where I had my first professional fight. And so look to kind of put all that stuff behind me and just let people focus on my boxing career now for the right reasons. So that's what I'm hoping to do, hoping to go out there. I've got a 4-rounder tomorrow. Hopefully, like, get the ring rust out and get back in the ring and hopefully kick on and have a good year this year and have as many fights as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking to do, JJ, aren't we? We're looking to just go out there, get the 4 rounds under our belt. We know he's fighting a guy, Andrew Patterson, a tough guy, not a good winning record, but we've seen him before. JJ knows what he's like. He's a very strong guy, likes to come forward. JJ knows he's in for a 4-round contest, and that's the fight that he wants. He doesn't want to go and win fights inside the distance at this stage. He wants the rounds under his belt. Is that right, JJ?
That's it. I mean, I've had so long out of the ring, like, kind of in contests. I mean, I had that little one before the prize fight, which was kind of a warm-up. But again, I need as many rounds under my belt after having such a break. And this is a perfect fight, like I say, in my hometown, in Peterborough, in front of a massive crowd. And like Andrew Patterson, he's going to be a tough opponent. He's not going to get blown out the way in the ring there. And so it's going to be a good workout for me. And hopefully I just look to put on the best performance I can.
Because you are quite well known, I mean, you've got about 30 million followers on Twitter or something, and because of that situation, do you feel, though, that guys like Andrew Patterson are going to want to teach you a lesson? You're going to maybe bring a bit more pressure on yourself?
I guess I kind of am, but I've never been one that's scared of pressure. I mean, if people look at my record, people that know about boxing, they can see the guys that I've fought. When I've fought them, they've been unbeaten, and my record was kind of patchy in places, and I've always put myself under a bit of pressure when it comes to fighting in the ring. This is boxing. At the end of the day, if you want it easy, you're kind of in the wrong sport, so you always got to put some kind of pressure on yourself, and I believe that's what keeps me sharp while I'm in the ring, the pressure that I put on myself and what the other opponent brings, and that's what keeps you on your toes and keeps you fighting and keeps you kind of aiming towards all your goals that you want to get.
I just want to ask Spencer here about you. Just stay where you are, JJ. Strengths, Spencer, and weaknesses that you've worked on with JJ.
Well, JJ, his weakness is where he used to carry his hands too low, especially his left hand, and he'd come out in straight lines. That's what we've really been working on, keeping his left side tight, moving off the sides. He's an excellent boxer, excellent counter puncher. You know, his strengths are his speed. I like him keeping it at long range. I don't like him getting inside too much and mixing it up with the shorter guys. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. But yeah, just mainly just working on his movement, hands tight, and just throwing the combinations. He does all that himself. You know, he's a very talented guy. If you look at JJ's record, it doesn't really tell you the story, because with JJ, he's had the phone call with 24 hours notice. He's been going in against a better guy, the guy that's been training for 8 weeks. Now he's sort of turned all that around. He's turned his career around, and he's looking forward. He's looking forward to getting his career back on track. Hopefully, he doesn't want to go into commentary or presenting after he's finished boxing, because he talks so well, doesn't he?
Well, there's plenty of good fighters that have got a few losses early on in their career. I mean, there's some legends. So you're looking as far as you can go. What realistic targets would you set yourself for the next year or two, JJ?
The British title is what I want. I know it's not going to happen overnight, and like you say, there's been some legends in the past that have lost their first few fights. I mean, Johnny Nelson lost like 5 of his first kind of 10 or 12, I think it was.
7.
And he went on,
7. 5 of his first 7.
5 of his first 7
yeah.
even. So I mean, he went on to win a world title. So
he didn't get hit for about 15
anyone
years,
that says
did he?
that I can't do that, I mean. It kind of spurs me on a little bit. If people are saying I can't do it, it's an extra thing that's pushing me behind me, saying, because I want to prove everyone wrong. I've had my goals since I was like 12, 13 years old, and I'm not going to stop till I at least get that British title, and who knows what can come after that.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck, JJ. Enjoy your night in Peterborough, hometown boy. Hopefully it all goes well for you, JJ Bird.
And I'll catch you with you tomorrow, mate.
See you tomorrow, mate.
Well, you're obviously going to be in action tomorrow in Peterborough, Spencer.
Sure.
But from the world of boxing, a few other stories, of course, that have happened over the last few days, and a few injuries, really. I mean, we had Ali Adams in the studio last week, really excited about fighting
buzzing.
Audley Harrison, and Audley's now hurt his elbow. That fight back from the middle of April to May the 26th. I mean, how annoying is that for him now when his preparations are so tapered, so finely tuned?
Well, look, I'm in the gym every day with Ali Adams. He's trained by Don Charles, so we're all in the same gym. And I know how frustrating it is because he realises, Ali, that this is his first big shot at the big time, and he was really relishing the chance, looking forward to it. And unfortunately, Audley's gone and got himself injured, you know, of no fault of his own. That's what happens in boxing. And it's a big setback for Ali Adams. But, you know, it just worries me now the fight's been put back to May the 26th. Will it still go on? You know, how long will it take for Audley's arm to repair? Audley's not getting any younger. But I really hope that Ali gets that opportunity because I know how excited he was. I know what hard work he's put in, and it's another blow for Don Charles and Ali Adams.
Other injuries, Ryan Rhodes had a shot at a Euro title. That now is going to be put back. He's injured. And also Darren Barker again, who was in line for a middleweight world title shot, I think, against Parog in Moscow. And again, hip problems put him back. Well,
this is you know, a big problem for Darren Barker. He's had one hip operated on before. Now he's got another hip problem. You know, he's a good friend of mine, Darren, from the same place in Barnet. I really feel for him. You know, he was really looking forward to this second world title shot. Put on a tremendous performance against Martinez last time out. And I just feel for the guy, and I just worry, you know, how bad the hip injury is. I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him about it, but I just hope that it's all not too bad and he can resume his career. You know, they were talking about later on in the summer that fight may go ahead.
And just another bill, it's not the biggest bill, but it's a very good-looking bill in Bolton on Sunday afternoon. David Barnes, who's had a stop-start career, to say the least. And he's taken on a big name now. Vivian Harris is in town. He's got some phenomenal records, some great fights in the past, and a chance of redemption for him, I suppose.
Absolutely. Dave Caldwell, we've had him on the show before. Dave Caldwell's a tremendous up-and-coming promoter. He's putting on a great show. And for me, I think it's managerial excellence, this fight, because I think Vivian Harris is past his best. He's a great name. David Barnes needs this sort of fight to get himself back in the limelight because, as you rightly said, it's been an on-off career. It really has been stop-start, and people really forgot about David Barnes. So Vivian Harris really will rocket him back up the ratings and stuff. And as I said, I think it's a stroke of genius that they've got Harris at this stage because I think it's the right time for him to get beaten.
Right. Well, we look forward to that one. We look forward to the Ricky Burns fight and everything else that's happening in the world of boxing. And we'll bring you plenty more of the action from the weekend coming up and previewing a big St. Pat's weekend the weekend after. This is The Fight Show right here on Sports Tonight Live.
Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans.